It's a super windy morning, very cold and brisk. Leaving the small town of Acebo, which was a nice little stop. Had a good little market, so we got some good food. Had a good restaurant. Had a great alberg. Nice place. I slept like for nothing though. I couldn't sleep at all. I had some kind of crazy allergic reaction to something in that place. I'm thinking it's dust. So I was pretty much clogged up all night. So I'm hoping tonight, wherever we end up, is a good sleep. We've got about 17 kilometers to get to a big city. We're all sort of like down on supplies. We need a pharmacy and we need Band-Aids and stuff for blisters and all that kind of stuff, which we're out of. So we're all sort of trudging through to get there. You can actually see it. I don't know if you can see the town from here, but it's pretty far off. That big city way down there. That's where we're heading. And it's about 17 kilometers, which is a pretty decent hike. I think our first town is about 4, which will be, I don't know, about under an hour, but we'll probably stop and have coffee or croissants, you know, something to charge us up. On these cold days, it's like no one wants to move. You get out and you're like, oh, it's so hard. Beautiful out though. It's really nice. Met some cool new people yesterday. That sort of makes the trip more interesting. You know, when you're meeting new people. Met a couple from Australia and they seemed pretty cool. They have a son who just got qualified for the Ironman triathlon. I guess he's an athlete and he does the biking, swimming and all that. So he probably will be in this year's Ironman out in Hawaii, which will be pretty cool. So I'll have to keep an eye out for him. So, all right, that's all for now. I don't know where we're going. We just passed an interesting, it's a sculpture. And the sculpture was I guess a monument to a bicyclist pilgrim that died. And I guess there was, he died here, and so they made a sculpture for it. And I don't know. So it's odd how many markings along the trail represent somebody who's died. And a lot of times you'll be in the middle of a mountain and then there's like a tombstone or a memorial marker where someone might have had a heart attack or something, you know. It's actually a lot more common than I expected. It seems to be quite a few people have died on the trail. And these are modern markers. These aren't like from hundreds of years old. They're actually pretty recent, like in the last, you know, 10, 15 years. And I mean, it was funny because well, not funny, but the day I left Roncesvalles, or for Roncesvalles from Saint Jean, they said there was a person killed. That was a pilgrim. He got hit by a car. I guess the visibility was real bad, and the car didn't see him, and down he went. So, and someone told me there was even a second death, which is sort of bizarre. You think 100,000 people are doing this in the course of a year, and that you can have deaths almost every year on this pilgrimage. It seems overall fairly safe. I think the only dangerous parts are when there's cars involved. So, I don't know. Well, with that said, on a more light note, I'm hoping today will be a beautiful walk. Yesterday's walk sucked. Coming down into, well, let me rephrase that. Yesterday's walk started out absolutely gorgeous and beautiful. It was just probably one of the most beautiful portions of the walk I've ever had. And you start going up and up and up, and before you know, you're climbing over a peak. And then the downhill stuff with boulders and rocks, oh man, does it just beat your feet up. Everybody's just hurting coming down these hills. And eventually it leveled out and we got to that cross, which was a very emotional, brutal day for a lot of us. After the cross, you know, it seemed everyone took their time, but people who come to that cross really come with different, I guess, senses of what it stands for. Some people just think of it as a picture, opportunity, and they're sort of loud and not really treating the place with any reverence. And then you have the other type of people that are sitting there for an hour really devoutly praying before they put their stones on the pile. And I fell into the ladder. It was pretty heavy for me. I had a lot of stuff I wanted to sort of let go of. And when we finally all passed the cross and started heading down the hill, then the trail got really difficult, really hard and painful. Finally we got into Acebo, which was sort of a blessing because it was hot, our feet hurt, and it was just like, okay, enough's enough, we're not going any further. So luckily there was a room. Okay, so I've rambled on enough this morning. And I mean, look at this. How do you beat this in the morning? I mean, it's the whole mountain range, and I can see why people just sort of never want this to end. We're all talking about how we're sad that this is coming to an end. We roughly have maybe 10 days left. I'm sort of in a conundrum. I'm trying to change my plane ticket. My flight originally is leaving out of the 3rd, which is not too far from now. And counting the days it would take to get there, it would take a while. So I either have to get my flight changed, or I've got to skip up some, which would mean leaving behind the group I've become family with, so I can complete the pilgrimage in time to catch my plane. So I'll know that today. When we get into this town, I'm due to call the airlines and all that stuff, and I'm really hoping I don't have to skip any. I really want to walk at all. But we shall see. Time shall tell. We just hiked somewhere about 6K, and we got into this beautiful little town that has this cobblestone bridge and a nice little stream. And you see the cathedral, and over here, I don't know the name of the town yet, but boy is it cute. Very beautiful. And the terrain, boy, the terrain coming into this town, rocky boulders, hurt your feet, gravel. The kind of walking where when you walk every step, it's reminding you you're on a Camino, because it sort of hurts. So we're gonna try to find a cafe and get some coffee. None of us have had breakfast or coffee yet, and I think we've been hiking for a little over 2 hours on some pretty rugged terrain. And I see a cafe. I don't know if you can see it. So there's my crew, and right where that car is, there's a cafe.